So on this channel, we are seemingly on a mission to watch every found footage film ever made. Not really, but anyone of note, right? Anyone that seems to have made any kind of impression on any other found footage friend that I have. And I've seen this one here and there on lists, and it's one I've always wanted to get to. This is on Tubi, as always, for anyone who is looking for it. Now, this is from 2013. And it's actually got a pretty cool setup. So we have these two filmmakers who were high school friends with Eduardo Sanchez, the director, one of the directors and creators of the Blair Witch documentary. And kind of like a meta aspect of this film that has nothing to do with the film itself, but just more of like a connection to us, weirdly, is we started watching a Blair Witch documentary.
Yeah, we did.
Right around the same time. And what this movie is that they start interviewing Eduardo Sanchez to make a Blair Witch documentary.
Yeah.
So the movie actually starts as a Blair Witch documentary. And then it evolves into something different because while they're talking to Eduardo Sanchez, he starts to kind of relay to them this filmmaker story that he knew about this other filmmaker in Maryland who created this kind of like this film that has this infamous backstory. And what happened is he made this movie and they had a one-time showing of the movie. And when he played the film, everyone in the theater like lost their minds and attacked people and attacked the film and burned the place to the ground and all this, and the film was lost. Yeah. Very similar, of course, to the premise of John Carpenter's Masters of Horror episode, Cigarette Burns. Very, very similar, to be honest. Anyway, so they kind of become obsessed with this, and they find out about the filmmaker Carl Atticus, who apparently committed suicide shortly thereafter. And they're told that not only is the story like super interesting, but also that if they were to be able to discover his footage and his film, that this footage would be worth buku bucks. Right. So it's kind of like a treasure hunt of sorts, but it's also like a trip down a rabbit hole of this very deranged filmmaker.
Yeah.
And so as they've investigated, they start to unravel the mystery, uncover these secrets and whatnot. And this leads them down a dark path. And of course, they get involved with some unsavory characters, and things go terribly wrong, of course, as one would expect with a movie like this. The film definitely had a realistic feeling to it for the most part. One of the big downsides for me, and I really wish they had worked on this. This is probably a nitpick of mine that might not mirror yours. But anytime they showed any of Carl Atticus's film, it felt so unbelievably cheap and unrealistic. It felt like low-budget filmmakers that were trying to throw together some schlocky thing. And it just, I don't know, that aspect of it really hurt the film for me.
Yeah, I was pretty into this movie up until the last 10 to 15 minutes. I think that overall, like, the acting and everything is really genuine from everybody that, whether they're being interviewed or, like, the main guys and stuff. Like, I really liked everyone's performance. But I agree, when they show, like, the footage that's supposed to be from Carl Atticus's, like, other films that they do have access to. Culture Shock and whatever the other one is.
No, it's just these. He only made 2 films.
Oh, sorry.
So we see some from Culture Shock, and then eventually we see, like, a little bit of footage from...
The footage that we see from Mortal Remains is fine, because it's, like, really quick, and there's, like, some gore involved and stuff, and I'm like, that, to me, I was okay with that. But the stuff in Culture Shock, I was like, well, what is this? Like, it just doesn't feel, because, they kind of, like, liken it to something like Cannibal Holocaust.
That's what it felt like.
I've only seen Cannibal Holocaust one time.
Same.
But I didn't remember it feeling like that. I
No.
thought Cannibal Holocaust felt very, like, gritty and real, which is what, like, the whole issue, well, not the whole issue, but, like, the whole, like, thing is with that.
Sure.
It's like, oh, it's real.
They ended up having to go to court to prove they didn't murder people, so
right.
That's how real it felt.
The culture shock, like, what's shown in here, it definitely detracts from this a little bit, because it's like, I think that the gore isn't horrible. I think that there's some, like, pretty good, like, low budget, practical effects in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Both, like, that are shown in that segment of culture shock and then in other parts of the movie, too. But I just, there's something about the vibe of it specifically with when they're showing you the footage that does make it feel very amateur and student film, and it shouldn't feel like that. I think it should come across like something like Cannibal Holocaust, like really gritty and dark, because even one of the people that's being interviewed is like, I don't know if somebody actually got, that body part cut off of them or something, like the crew members are like, we don't know if that was like a practical effect or if that was real, and I don't know.
The footage is so fake.
The footage feels very fake. So that's definitely, I think, a good point to make, but everything around that, like the guys' performances, like the way they talk to each other, and all of that feels super real. I love when they're interviewing people. I think all the people they interview feel very believable to me, very realistic. And I really was into the, like, overall, like, mystery and story. Like, they have, like, some horror historians that they're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, film historians that are like, oh, man, like, if you could find this, like, that would be crazy. And they tie it into, like, an author as well. And there's, like, some code ciphers and stuff that gets brought in. I love all of that stuff. I really do. But then in the last, like, 10 to 15 minutes, it...
super anticlimactic.
It really lost me. Yeah. I get what the point is, and I think, like, I understand it. It's not confusing or anything. It just didn't work for me. Because I'm just kind of like... like, it does make you... Then you have to go back and, like, the rest of the film changes because of that. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. I guess it is a little confusing, where I'm like, I don't really know if that makes sense for the rest of the film. I don't know.
This movie incorporates its credits as the twist of the movie, which I don't think I've ever... Maybe I've seen once before. I feel like I have seen that, but whatever it is, it was a cool idea. Like, I was like, oh, okay, like, I see now. I get what's happening here. But just the last, as you said, the last 15 minutes when things really go down, it just felt very anticlimactic. I was just kind of like, oh, that was it? Okay, that's not enough for me. There's just not enough going on there. And I do think that this was an attempt to kind of recapture Lightning in a Bottle, where they brought in Eduardo Sanchez, and they were characters that were playing themselves, and they were talking about lost footage, found footage, and Eduardo's the one who brought them this lore.
It's actually technically, like, in-universe related in a way to the Blair Witch.
It's almost like a sequel.
Yeah, they talk about Burkittsville and, like the forest, the Black Hills Forest, So that was interesting. I was like, I thought that was very cool.
Almost like Eduardo Sanchez.
It was like,
is the guy who compiled the Blair Witch footage in this world. And the Blair Witch Project was actually real within Mortal Remains world.
It was cool. I was into that.
You could see that. Yeah, I could see that this is like a spin-off.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of really good stuff in this for sure. And, maybe this is something where it's like if we watch it again, I'll have a totally different feeling about the ending. But I just know that on my initial, like on this first watch of ours, like, it was kind of anticlimactic for me. And, like I said earlier, I didn't like it, really, the ending. But I like everything else in the film. So, aside from the culture shock footage.
I think once again, I know we're kind of beating a dead horse, and just I'm constantly saying this with these found footage reviews, but this one to me is definitely only for found footage
Yeah.
mockumentary enthusiasts. If you are like a big completist with these types of films, I think it's worth a watch. I definitely think you should check it out. I think you should have it in your list of found footage films that you've seen. But I don't think it's anything you need to run to.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody's opinion on anything is going to be different. But I don't think this is top tier found footage. But it's still a cool addition. I like this idea that it is an in-universe spin-off film that's connected to the Blair Witch universe. That makes it cooler to me, for sure. I just wish I liked the movie more, so that if it was really that, I could connect it to that in that way, that I would have a really cool film to add to it.
Right.
Where I'm like, oh, you gotta watch Blair Witch 1, 2, and 3. And you should throw Mortal Remains in there, because it's got a weird connection to it that kind of makes it feel like it's in the same universe.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say that now, the way I feel about it. I wouldn't bring it up.
If you're a big Blair Witch fan, I think it'll be fun to watch it, to just, hear the connections and see all that.
Yeah, to see Eduardo and just talk about the Blair Witch a little bit.
I think the vibe, as far as, the acting and the performances from people, is very similar to Blair Witch.
Well, it's because the guys in the movie are themselves.
Right.
And they're friends and they're filmmakers.
And then, also, all the people that they interview and stuff. That stuff is great. That stuff is when we watch mockumentaries and they can really land the people that they're interviewing and everything, that's what makes it really cool for me, because I'm like, oh, they're talking to a real person about a real event, and it definitely helps with the suspension of disbelief. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think probably this is one only for found footage fans.
The scariest part of the movie, I will say, is when they find the house. And go in the house, very similar to the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah,
right?
some
When they find the house,
in there.
That definitely was pretty unsettling. You're yelling at them, hurry the fuck up,
100,
get out of that house.
Yeah,
and they go down in the basement and whatnot. It's creepy. For sure. That's the best part of the film, for sure. So I dug that scene, and I really wish that we could have built on that tension. And when they start getting the phone calls and whatnot, I wish it would have built to something better. That the ciphers that they uncover and the mysteries and the things that they grab and end up piecing together. I just wish it would have amounted to more. There's just a little more that needed to come out of their investigation for this to feel like it built to something that felt satisfying, and it just didn't. There's something that was missing along the way, that when the end happened and you see what's going on, and then you get that reveal of the credits, and you're like, okay, if that's the case, then shouldn't the film be a little different? I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's a very middling review. Right, we're just kind of it could have been so good.
Yes,
it's a bummer.
Yeah,
but it's all right. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Anything more?
No, I think that's it.
All right, so beware Carl Atticus. Don't watch his films. If you ever see a movie with his name on it, turn away.
Yes.
Turn back. You've been warned. Le film absolute demande. Isn't that what it is in Cigarette Burns?
I don't know.
I gotta look up that title again. I swear that's what it is. Something like that. Put it in the comments below. We'll see you there. Adios.
Bye.